Welcome to the Kurt Dylan Music Show. Welcome. Welcome to the Kurt Dylan Music Show. Today we are talking about John Lennon. You can hate him, you can love him, but we're talking about him today. So let's just get right in. Let's just get right in. Before we start with the report, let me just give a short little fact. So, John Lennon was on the cover of the first issue of the Rolling Stone magazine in 1967, and on the cover of the following year in 1968. But right then, he was literally butt naked with Yoko Ono. But not for the last time. Most regard John Lennon as an open-minded revolutionary, uncensored and unbiased, who spoke from his heart and to his people, and with quick wit and unquestionable brilliance, fighting authority with his words and imagination. Others, who carry a less romanticized view of their favorite celebrities, know him as some misguided English hippie with a slime mouth and a stupid pair of glasses, offending every religion and authority with the sight of only his hair, a drug-using, wife-beating, insecure mess of a man, an adultering mess who left his wife and child for some floozy who ruined his career, a lying, cheating idiot whose idea of a Christmas greeting was a cruel poster, and all around, no doubt about it, piece of human scum. Wow, harsh. No matter what your argument is, I personally believe that John Lennon was a pretty cool dude, and Yoko Ono gets a lot of hate for something she didn't really do. I mean, she did climb over equipment and eat George Harrison's biscuits that one time, but come on, guys. She was the original, no cares at all, semi crazy hipster lady, and that fixes everything. Look, I'm not going to pretend that John Lennon was some sort of angel either. I mean, he did steal a mouth organ allegedly that one time, but his mom did get hit by a car, so it cancels it out, guys. The only thing I could really blame old Johnny for is making everybody give Catcher in the Rye a bad rep. I mean, sure, maybe it did make that wacko shoot him in the back of the head in 1980, but it's a good book nonetheless. I mean, are you going to get rid of a book because of some sort of backwards, he read this, doesn't made him do it logic? That makes no sense. Anyhow, I personally think that John Lennon was a great musician, but sometimes he got to knock somebody back a few inches. So today, we're going to do just that. I'm going to tell you everything bad he did, ever probably not. I don't know a lot of things about him. I mean, I know enough to get through this show, but not that much. Anyhow, let's go again. Let's just get right in again. Oh, and for the record, I know he didn't get shot at the back of the head, but it sounds a bit cooler than the left side of his back and shoulder, so, Oh, and also, I understand that you probably hold John Lennon to a pretty high degree, but whatever you think about him, he was kind of a hypocrite, okay? At least in my opinion. I mean, everybody he knew personally could probably attest to the fact that he was kind of a hypocrite. Okay, let's go. You may say that people change, but spousal abuse is a big deal, and I sympathize with his first wife, Cynthia, and the notion that slapping somebody is not a healthy way to let your jealousy out. And for a guy going on and on about love, he sure didn't show much to his son Julian, who apparently received much more from Billy Shears. I mean, Paul McCartney, yeah. Oh, and when discussing his childhood in 1980, he also said, I fought men and I hit women, which back then was already a bad thing to say, but if somebody said that today, could you just imagine all the radical feminists going like, that's sexist, men and women should be submitted to the same form of abuse, something like that? I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm the only bad person. Anyhow. So, apart from being both physically and emotionally abusive, there's also one other thing about John Lennon which not a lot of people know. So, There are a lot of people who hated his guts, but there's one in particular which is really interesting, and that's, wait for it, Elvis. The epitome of the Southern gentleman, the king of rock, hated John Lennon. And, well, you may think, well, they're from different times. No, the actual reason for him hating John Lennon is very, very hypocritical. So let me just tell you flat out. See, the guy who took enough prescription drugs a day to knock out 10 people, I'm of course talking about Elvis Presley, and died of a possible overdose, except if you're a conspiracy theorist, in which case he's still alive doing prescription drugs, thought that John Lennon was just some sort of hippie junkie who was spreading drug use, something that Elvis Presley was surprisingly against. I mean, there's lots of documentation about Elvis's extreme drug use, yet there's also a fair amount about him badgering Richard Nixon to let him become a narc. Isn't that strange? So yeah, the guy who owned a ranch at go-kart courts and ripped bejeweled suits on the daily was mad about a relatively humble guy just sharing his opinions on a pointless war and being pretty out there with his drug use. I mean, what, was Elvis just mad that John Lennon wasn't afraid of hiding it? I don't know. People and life are weird. I think we did our best of staying on topic when talking about all the bad things that John Lennon had done and why Elvis surprisingly hated him. Anyhow, so let's just get to nobody's favorite segment, advice and observations. Let's go. Today I have some painfully real advice and observations. If you plan on becoming a brilliant singer-songwriter, here are two things you shouldn't do. First, don't be a hypocrite. I think that's pretty simple. Second, don't say that you're better than Jesus unless you're talking about your Latino gardener, because religious people get really mad. That was today's advice and observations. I hope you have enjoyed today's segment of the Kurt Dillon Music Show, and that my complete and utter unprofessionalism and disrespect of Latino gardeners, radical feminists, and John Lennon has not scared you away. So please have a great night and rock on. Rock on. Hey, is this the Kurt Dillon Music Show? I'm from the Feminist Latino Gardener John Lennon Fan Club, and I found your auditory program offensive.